Before they were champions, they were guys knee-deep in moss-deep city with a good rod and a dream. And they weren't chasing fame or fortune, they were just trying to land some lunch. My name is Macho, and this is a tribute to one of the most quietly persistent trainer classes in the franchise, the Fisherman. You know the type, vest full of lures, an absolute menace on any peer in the game. They don't care about stats or strategy, if it flops, flounders and flails, it's gonna be their catch of the day. For this challenge, I dived into Pokémon Black 2 and reeled through every fisherman in the game, documenting each and every Pokémon that they use. Why? Because they are the only Pokémon I'm allowed to use in this Nuzlocke run. Here's what I've managed to hook. There are 17 trainers in Black 2, and they use 19 different encounters. That's a lot of fishy finds. We're going to use a recruitment system for this run. We start with one of the Pokemon as our starter, and after each gym leader is defeated, we're allowed to recruit one new floundering friend from our PC box. We're playing under standard hardcore Nuzlocke rules, and if we swim our way to glory, they're all heading to the Luxury Ball Resort to take over the swimming pool. And with that, our run with Fisherman Chips begins. Let's just take a moment to appreciate these visuals though. I do love some good graphics, and this really draws me on to our sponsor for today's video. With designs in gaming like no other and textures to make your jaw drop, it's of course Raid Shadow Legends. And I seriously wish I started with these champions from the beginning. Don't miss out on this, because by the end I'll show you how to get 3 top tier champions from the Sylvan Watchers, including a legendary, totally free of charge. Let's talk about them. It's probably my favourite new faction in Raid and easily one of the coolest. They didn't build some big stone city or hide out in underground caves like other factions. Instead, they made their home deep in Mistwood, this massive dangerous jungle way out east of Teleria. Their character designs are absolutely unreal. One of the best is the Myceliac Priestdawn. He looks like a mushroom forest guardian that's built to take hits and carry you through tough boss fights. The textures on the champions, especially this one, are absolutely stunning. This is where Raid's AAA graphics really shine through. I think the real draw to me is how deep the gameplay gets. It's not just about surface layer brute force. You've got gear sets, team synergy, debuffs, boss mechanics. It's all there for you to dive into. Ready to start? Click my link in the description or scan the QR code to get the epic champion Kellan the Shrike and a starter pack full of useful items. And then at level 15, you'll unlock Uugo, one of the most valuable champions from yet another starter pack. Download with my link and use promo code TREEHUGGER within 72 hours to get Green Warden Ruark, my favourite legendary Sylvan Watcher. In addition, both new and existing players can redeem 2 more promo codes with useful resources. Check other promo codes for all users in the description below. And hey, don't forget to join my clan, Luxury Resort Staff, under the name Macho, so we can take down that clan boss together. Thank you for Raid for sponsoring this video. Our voyage begins the way all great angling adventures do, with a ghost jellyfish named Mayonnaise. So, with a bucket full of Pokeballs and a dream, we step outside, and a few steps later, I'm interrupted by Bianca, who very kindly explains how to catch a Pokemon. As if I don't wake up every day thinking about rods, bait, and optimal fishing spots. Thanks, Bianca. Very cool. Eventually, we make it to Ruleset Ranch, where we're challenged by none other than Trawler, our rival, our nemesis, and the kind of guy who cheats at fishing. We find the missing dog, scare off some pirate, and finally make our way to Aspertia Gym. This is where the trouble starts. We walk in, battle the first trainer, youngster Pedro, and immediately lose. I forgot literally everything in here knows bite, and Frillish is washed by it. Whoops. So it's back to the drawing board. Mayonnaise is benched for now, and we reboot the run with a slowpoke named Mustard, because nothing says, let's speedrun this bit, like a pink lump with base 15 speed. I'll save you the montage, but eventually, we return to the first gym. We lead with our snoozing salamander. Pat Rat opens with workup, and we go for yawn. Then he bites, causing us to flinch before he hits the hay. While snoozing, Mustard starts stacking curse like it's going out of style. 1 curse, 2 curse. Eventually Pat Rat wakes up, but it's too late and our beefy boy knocks him out. Lillipup comes in next, and it goes for a workup as we tackle and nearly end it early on. Charon decides to heal, but after a boosted tackle, the muck goes down. We win the basic badge, Captain Mustard is cursing like a sailor, and Charon is nursing, and we're reversing out of the gym. Sorry, I ran out of rhymes there. After that, we're allowed to fish up Mayonnaise again, officially recruited this time. With the first badge secured, and Mustard finally calming down from their cursing, we set course for Verbank, a town famous for 3 things: pollution, punk rock, and whatever's leaking into the harbour. If you like the things that I'm leaking into your harbour, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Only a small percentage of you are subscribed, and it really helps out. All subs will be monetary donations to the Verbank Ocean Cleanup, although, looking at it, we might need quite a few. It's here that we challenge Roxy, the local gym leader, full-time musician for the band Poison and the Status Conditions. We lead with Mustard because this pink hippo has another party trick. Coughing comes out first and immediately starts assurance spamming. Mustard responds with some confusion spamming, and after a back and forth of spam, the smog finally drops. Then comes Whirlipede. We get hit with Pursuit before using Yawn. Then we take a Venoshock down to 4 HP and just barely get off a Confusion before swapping to Mayonnaise. They get tagged in, eat a few moves, and then fire off a bubble beam strong enough to end this Bugs crusade. Roxy goes down, we earn the Toxic badge, and now we can recruit the cult classic fish. That's right, we net Ketchup the Magikarp, a flopping symbol of every aquatic underdog story. He's splishy, he's splashy, and he's most definitely sploshy. After a quick detour to Pokestar Studios, where I crank out a blockbuster debut with Bryson in under 10 minutes, we head back to Verbank just in time to break up the Team Plasma Street performance. It ends with us chasing them off and returning to find Pop Roxy looking emotionally ruined over their straight-to-DVD movie. Then, we finally board the trawler, with none other than Trawler himself, for a trip to the big city, Castelia. But there's a real tragedy. This boat, this immaculate industrial-grade vessel, is built like it could haul up a whale lord and trawl the entire Unova coastline. But it's just a ferry. There are no rods, no nets, no Goldeen glory stories. Just clean transit. What a terrible shame. When we arrive, we make a beeline for Berg's gym, but Clyde lets us know that Berg's off chasing inspiration. Fortunately, Iris shows up and volunteers to drag us halfway across the plumbing system of Castelia to find him. We dive into the sewers and team up with Trawler to sniff out some hiding Team Plasma grunts, and we let Captain Mustard handle things the good old-fashioned way. Berg reappears from the shadows and gives us a nod, and leads the way to his gym. But not before Colress shows up, stares deep into my fishy soul, and offers a surprising compliment to my aquatic associates. Whatever floats your boat, man. In the gym, we evolve Ketchup the Magikarp into an absolute leviathan, and we get down to business. We lead with Gyarados, rocking leftovers that we dredged up from the sewers. It insisted on eating it. First up is Swadloon, who gets Dragon Raged before trying to stall with a slingshot, but eventually it goes down to strength. Dwebble's up next and triggers a tactical swap to Mayonnaise, who soaks a few hits and finishes it off with a Water Pulse. Leavanny comes out last and Ketchup returns. It takes a Razor Leaf crit and starts breathing Dragon Rage like it's lunch. After some berry munching, potion guzzling, and a lucky Razor Leaf miss, we knock down the final bug, secure the win, and reel in the insect badge. After the battle, we picked up Aeoli the Barboach, a wiggly little baitfish who's bound for greatness. I hope. That'd be really convenient if that was his story. After that, it was out of the city, across Route 4, a quick detour with Colress by the fountain, and a free Eevee-alike from a generous scientist, which is perfect for a Frillish with a long way to go. We dock in at Nimbasa City, and within minutes the subway bosses drag us into battle like they're defending the honour of punctual transit. Then it's gym time. We march straight into the first building with a big neon sign, because, you know, gym badge logic, only to be met with a roller coaster. Hold on a minute, this isn't a gym. This is a theme park ride with identity issues. By the time we finally ride the last cart and loop around to find shock, no leader, I am livid. I am a professional fisherman. I didn't reel in half of the Unova river system to get bait and switched in this manner. Thankfully, the real gym isn't far. A sleek white runway, booming speakers and camera flashes, and there, striking a power pose at the end of the catwalk, Elisa. As we gear up to the gym, Aeoli evolves into Whiscash, giving us the high voltage counter we truly needed. We decide to lead with Aeoli as Emolga hits the field. It attacks with Pursuit and a quick attack, whilst Aeoli becomes forgetful with some amnesias before it promptly washes away the flying mouse with a couple of water pulses that I really hope were in time with the music. Fluffy is up next and takes a measly magnitude 5. It hangs on easily before it hits back with a takedown, before eventually dropping to yet another measly magnitude 5. Zeb Striker finally charges in with a zippy Pursuit, but we roll a lucky 8 on magnitude, which was more than enough for the instant knockout. With the Bolt badge in hand, we welcome Sriracha the Poliwag aboard, bringing some heat to this fishy flopping lineup. And as we bask in our hard-earned victory, I look up to see something beautiful. Behind Elisa, the stadium's giant screen flickers to life, displaying me. Big, pixelated, majestic. Maybe this gym layout isn't too bad after all. After being truly flattered and leaving a 5-star TripAdvisor review, it's time for a small detour, a necessary side mission. We dive into the battle subway and we queue up singles, release aioli and let them absolutely fillet the opposition. 7 wins, no losses, no casualties, just clean, clinical domination. With our winnings, a whole 3 battle points, we stroll over to the prize exchange and pick up a water stone. That'll come in handy later. Outside the stadium, we spot Trawler yelling at Team Plasma. My best team is his team just lost, and now he's abusing the Ultras. I'm sure he's calmed down now, and he wouldn't do anything rash. He's working through some things. We evolve Sriracha into Poliwhirl before we push on into the eye of the storm, the Driftvale Gym. And after navigating a series of industrial conveyor belts, there he is, Clay, a Nuzlocke's nightmare. Let's go have a chat with the foreman. We lead with aioli. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a hard hat for him, just don't tell OSHA. Krokorok comes out first. Aioli goes for an amnesia as a bulldoze lands soft, but drops our speed. It follows up with a torment, but one water pulse sends the croc back to the sediment. Sandslash comes in next and tries to get spicy with some Fury Cutter action, but we're stuck using return, still tormented. Another Fury Cutter comes in, but Sandslash gets confused from our water pulse. Clay then decides to Hyper Potion as we attack again, then use some classic Fisherman's luck. Sandslash hits itself in confusion as another water pulse gets the job done. Out comes the big one, Excadrill. You know this one's a menace. Usually anyway. The mole goes in swinging with Slash, then eats magnitude 7. Pretty chunky damage. Another Slash lands a critical hit, dropping aioli to 15 HP. But they pull through, and with one last water pulse, we drop the threat. Clay was defeated, and the Quake badge was secured. And with that, a new recruit. Gravy the Stunfisk slops his way onto the team. It's legally a fish, I guess. We take what we can get on this channel. On a side note, please comment down below what trainer you'd like to see next. This was suggested by you, and I'd love to make more content around your ideas. Unfortunately, despite our joys with Clay, our rival trawler is going through stuff, obviously. He's upset and we chase him towards the World Tournament area. We enter the Pokemon World Tournament on the gym leader's suggestion and... wait a minute, everyone here's rocking level 25s while we're throwing out much bigger fish. Clay, did you rig this bracket? After the win, just outside the stadium, Trawler tries his luck again with a Team Plasma Grunt. I had to stop him before he committed any low-level assault. We pursue the Grunts and board the Plasma Frigate, a state-of-the-art ship, no doubt built for open water conquests. Right? Right? No rod holders, no bait storage, not a single water type on deck. This isn't a vessel for fishing, it's a weapon. What's wrong with this region and boats? Naturally, we're ambushed while looking around. Plasma Grunts pour in from every hatch like tuna in a feeding frenzy. We knock them down only for Zinzalin to kick us off the ship entirely. Probably for asking too many questions about their fishing permits. Booted off and slightly insulted, we head inland. Route 6 winds like a gentle stream, and in the research lab we snag the HM for surf, a true fisherman's dream. We coast all the way through Chargestone Cave and finally arrive in Mistralton City. We enter the Mistralton City Gym and clear the gym puzzle with the wind in our sails. Skylar is up next, and I have a feeling our fake fish gravy may be quite useful here. We open the fight with Sriracha the Poliwhirl. Swoobat leads the charge with a heart stamp, and Sriracha gets off a hypnosis, giving us an opening, so we swap into Gravy the Stunfisk. Unfortunately, Swoobat wakes up on the following turn and throws out another heart stamp that flinches us, before Gravy finally gets off a discharge for the KO. Swanna flutters in next and uses a feather dance. That's cute. Discharge, knockout. Then there is Skarmory, who misses a Steel Wing before it weathers a discharge thanks to Sturdy, but it gets paralysed in the action. Skylar heals it up before we trigger Sturdy again, and finally we get the last zap. The Conductive Condor goes down, and we take the Jet Badge from Skylar. That's another step closer to the end, and a new recruit for the squad. Salsa the Alomomola. Alomomola? It's a Pokemon that's 80% heart, 20% fish, and 100% not getting used currently. We find the Professor in Celestial Tower before we're ushered onto a plane and headed for Lentibus Town, a dusty mountain village, not much water, not many fish, and not much fun. We trek through Reversal Mountain and eventually emerge in Undella Town, a place that finally smells like salt water and seaweed. This is my type of town. After quickly cleaning up Trawler in an ambush, we cross through Route 13, step away from the mysterious blue statue that screamed at us, and before we arrive in Lacunosa Town, we have some upgrades for the team. Mayonnaise becomes a full Jellicent, Mustard embraces Enlightenment as a Slowbro, and Sriracha simmers into a powerful Poliwrath. After drifting through Lacunosa for a little breather, we finally roll into Opelucid City. And I've been dreading this one. Not because I'm afraid of dragons, no, I'm a big boy now. It's because fish were never meant to swim in dragon-infested waters. It's Jurassic Park with wings in that gym, and that makes our team lunch. Still, I've come this far with barnacles on my boots and a dream in my heart. So let's see if we can gut the big one. We enter the gym, ride a dragon up to the top before eventually coming face to face with the dragon tamer, Drayden. We open with Mayonnaise the Jellicent. Druddigan leads for Drayden, and we get a Will-O-Wisp off before the Dragon Tail stall exchange starts. After an incredibly long back and forth, we do finally KO the dragon with burn damage. Flygon hits the field next, it crunches and we water pulse. Another crunch comes in before we hit another pulse, and before we get ended, we decide to swap to Ketchup, who gets Rock Slide crit to 2 HP, also getting flinched in the process. That's one hell of a warning, so let's get him out of here. Sriracha comes in next, takes a Rock Slide, then eats an Earth Power, before firing off a Wake Up Slap that finally finishes the Flygon. Haxorus walks in next, and this is the one I've been worrying about. We swap into Ketchup to get an Intimidate drop as it starts Dragon Dancing. Thank you, predictable AI. And we swap straight back into Mayo as it slashes our ghost for nothing. Haxorus starts Dragon Dancing again, and it's starting to get to a difficult point. We luckily land a Will-O-Wisp though, and it slashes its attack in half. It responds with an Assurance as we get off a status boosted Hex. After, we swap into Aeoli to try and see the fight out. It takes an Assurance, then a Slash, but after avoiding a potential crit, it lands the final Earthquake for the KO. And with that, my timbers thoroughly shivered, the Legend badge is ours. We decide it's time to recruit, and we add Buffalo the Staryu to the team, which I think will at some point have its time in the sun. After hauling in Drayden's dragons, Team Plasma rudely arrives in their boat, I assume because they're trying to fish in the middle of the city? Now listen, you're not catching anything in Opelucid. You should try the nature reserve, there are some legendary carp in there. And as if they heard my know-it-all comments, in a totally reasonable response, they flash freeze the entire city. And at the center of it all is Zinzalin. We take him on, and thanks to some well-timed belly drum shenanigans, we send his chilling team back to the deep freeze. But before we can totally defrost, the Shadow Triad swoops in like a dramatic cormorant and steals my new gadget, Hook, Line and Sinker. After that, we head back to Undella, where I'm told to visit something called the Marine Tube. I rolled my eyes, it sounds like a tourist trap that probably sells novelty pencils or something. But then, I step inside, and I'm floored. Glass tunnels beneath the ocean, light filtering through coral. Oh look, Frillis drifting past me like little underwater ghosts. Is that a blue striped basculin? I've never seen one so peaceful. I'm crying, I'm clapping, I'm wailing. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Eventually, after wiping the ocean spray and maybe some tears off of my face, I arrive in Humalau City, a great fishing spot according to my sources. The place is serene, the water is crystal clear, and then there's Marlon, just out for a casual swim. But he's scaring off all the flippin' fish. Well then, let's go teach him a thing or two about respecting the general public. We open up with Sriracha as Caracosta starts for Marlon. We hit a Hypnosis and it lands perfectly. Time for a belly drum. He wakes up and shell smashes, which is terrifying, so we end up putting it back to sleep. Then we go for a setup wake up slap, and Caracosta's sturdy kicks in. He tries to scold, but it only activates Sriracha's water absorb, and even after a hyper potion, we clean up with a flurry of gloved slaps. Wailord is up next, but a belly drum boosted wake up slap is no joke, and even with copious amounts of HP, the King of the Sea drops to the deep. Jellicent comes in next, and we manage to land Hypnosis again. Thank you for the accuracy for once, before we swap to Gravy. Jellicent wakes up and uses Ominous Wind as we throw out a Thunderbolt. Another Ominous Wind gets the Omni boost, but we manage to get a Thunderbolt off to paralyze it. Now with Faster, we decide to go for a bounce, and after we plummet down on the jellyfish, that's the KO for the match. Wave badge acquired. And to cap it all off, we recruit our final Pokemon, Tsatsiki the Clamperl. Cute, maybe too cute. I'm keeping my hands away from that clamp. Marlon immediately dives back into the sea, right on top of another top tier fishing tile. I swear this man's doing it on purpose. Slightly infuriated, we head down to the seaside cave, and there's a Crustle just chilling in the path like he owns the place. We gently buzz him out of the way and watch him scuttle off to pursue his dreams of sitting down somewhere else. After our little crustacean relocation, we finally find a boat worthy of a fisherman. The sea breeze, the salt in the air, the vague scent of Magikarp. Perfect. And what do we find deep inside? Only zimziminy zimziminy zimzimzaree, standing next to a big cold prehistoric fish in a tube. That's one hell of a catch. Of course, they immediately fly off, presumably to avoid answering any of my questions about bait types or rod setup. On the way back to Humalau City, we nearly lose Sriracha in the closest brush with death this run has seen so far. Whale Lord nearly flips the entire script, but sheer dumb luck pulls us through, as we belly drum down to critical health before Whale Lord fires off a water move that heals through Sriracha's water ability. That's one of my new fishing tales for the dock. From there, it's on to Giant Chasm. We take on a few grunts, climb the ice mountain, and find ourselves once again on the Plasma Frigate. Ziggy Stardust is freezing the ecosystem one speech at a time. After that, we find Colress, who I thought was the good guy. Aeoli melts his entire steel core setup with the grace of a well-thrown lure. A small walk later, we find a haggard pirate-looking fella, clearly a man who's faced more Sharpedo in his time, and we chase him into a cave full of prime fishing spots, but now isn't the time for that. This windswept pirate tries to end my run with some dragon shenanigans, but just as I'm about to become no more, a complete stranger, probably the Unovan Coast Guard, jumps in to save the day, and it all gets a bit weird. They summon this legendary fish monster, mix them together like a Californian roll, but we harpoon the abomination, metaphorically sink his ship, and send a pirate to walk the plank. This sea has one king, and it's me, Fisherman Chips. With the region safe from glaciers, we swim through the badge check gates, tackle Victory Road, and set our sights on the Elite Four. It's time to prove that fishermen don't just tell tales, we create them. Before we cast our lines into the final gauntlet, there's just one thing to mention. The level cap for the Elite Four is 58, based on all the Elite Four's aces, but we're going in slightly under so we don't overlevel before we start the champion fight, because that's not in the spirit of the run. So here's the team that we're going for. Sriracha the Poliwrath, Ketchup the Gyarados, Captain Mustard the Slowbro, Mayonnaise the Jellicent, Buffalo the Starmie, and Aeoli the Whiscash. Did you really think I could leave this one behind? We start by entering Chantal's room. Ghosts, candles, and spooky vibes, the usual Pokemon tropes. But I'm not there for ambience, I'm there for victory. We lead out Sriracha, and she sends out Cofagrigus. That was the 18th take of saying that. We land a Hypnosis, then set up Belly Drum while it naps. One waterfall later, and it's back to the tomb. Next is Drifblim. It lands a Thunderbolt, but we survive and take it out. Unfortunately, its Aftermath ability drops us down to just 2 HP. That could have been terrible. Chandelure comes in, and we decide to go with Ketchup. We take the Energy Ball, but fire back with Waterfall for the super effective knockout. Last is Golurk. We land a Waterfall as it Shadow Punches for measly damage. Chantal heals up, but a double of Waterfalls was enough for the final KO. The Elite Four's ghosts were exercised, and we're one member down. Next on the dock is Grimsley, an appropriate name for that horrendous leather sofa that he stands in front of. Let's see how he handles our Abyssal team. We open with Ketchup, but immediately swap into Mayonnaise when we smell a fake out on the way. We don't waste the opportunity, and Mayonnaise tanks a Night Slash and throws out a Will-O-Wisp, burning the Lipard, before we pivot back to Ketchup for some Intimidate shenanigans. With the burn cutting damage, we comfortably stack a couple Dragon Dances, whilst Lipard tries and fails to woo us with Attract. No time for romance, only fishy business. With the boosts locked in, Ketchup unleashes a Waterfall, and down goes Lipard. Scrafty comes in next, and we Dragon Dance once more, knowing Crocodile will intimidate us and Scrafty will drop our speed. It lands a Rock Tomb on the next turn and drops our speed, and we Waterfall to knock the pants off it. Crocodile comes in and it's only mustered its ability before he dropped it as well with a Waterfall. Bisharp followed, but due to our dancing, it doesn't get to set up shop, and a Waterfall KOs the Elite Four members' final Pokemon. Grimsley's whole team was washed away by our Sea Serpent. That's 2 down and the tide's still rising. With 2 Elite Four members down, it's time to square up with Marshall, the black belt bruiser of the bunch. His team is pure fighting type, and that means it's Mustard's time to shine. We lead with the captain, straight into his Throw? Throw? I'm going to say Throw because I'm British. A combination of Calm Mind and Slack Offs is where we're starting, and Throw keeps hammering back with Payback, but Slowbro is built like a tugboat. We alternate between Slack Off and Calm Minds again, soaking the hits like driftwood in a monsoon. Eventually, after becoming an all-powerful being, Mustard's Psychic is enough to sink the Throw. Me and Xiao comes up next with a high jump kick, but it doesn't even phase Captain Mustard. He tanks the blow and fires off a clean psychic for the knockout. Sork proves a bit more stubborn, but eventually we break it sturdy and finish it with a surf just to mix things up a bit. Last in line is Conkeldurr, but at this point we've got enough Calm Mind stacked to Psychic Blast through a battleship. One hit is all it takes, and the Mortar Master's mind implodes immediately. Marshall's team is out of steam, and our captain is leading the charge. We're 3/4 through this gauntlet, one Elite Four member remains, but it is by far the hardest one in this run. Before I get into this fight, I taught Aeoli Rain Dance, just to get in the fish team spirit. Caitlin is the dreamy psychic type specialist that lounges in a sea of cushions and pink sparkles, but we're not here for a nap. We're here to cast Rain Dance with Aeoli and make it pour into her tea room. She leads with Mashana, who, to put it lightly, is just a real pest. She puts us on a timer with Yawn, so what follows is a whole musical chair of fish, with Mashana yawning, dream eatering, and us trying to dance around the whole thing. Eventually, Mayonnaise comes in, burns her with a will-o-wisp, and eats a synchronized burn in return, and Mayonnaise gets to work with Hex. But then Cursed Body disables Charge Beam. Due to being burnt, it can't yawn us to sleep, and after some hexing and burn chip, we finally put it to the sword. Her Gothitelle comes out looking smug with a Calm Mind, but we burn that too, and after a Thunderbolt, we hit Hex for nice damage. After a couple of swaps and a Thunderbolt scare, Sriracha tags in and finishes the job with a single wake-up slap. Reunitless comes in looking scary, big scary, very scary, so we get our big dragon out, who eats a psychic. We fire a waterfall as we nearly go down to a psychic, but then instead of just ending us on the next turn, it decides to recover. Forever, until we manage to get a waterfall flinch, allowing us to double up and get the KO. That was unbelievably close. Last up is Sigalith, who I totally forgot about after that green blob situation. Fortunately for us, our first Ice Fang flinched it, and another Ice Fang managed to freeze it out. The final Pokemon is down. Caitlin's done dreaming, we've cleared the Elite Four, and the only challenge remains: the champion. From humble waters we rose, a lone fisherman, armed with nothing but a rod, a dream, and a party of soggy misfits. We've weathered the storms, reeled in miracles, and surfed the currents of destiny. From bait to badge, we've proven that even the smallest splash can make the mightiest waves. And now, at the edge of glory, with the champion dead ahead and no more lures left in the box, it's time to cast our final line, and we're not reeling back empty. We open with Captain Mustard, our seasoned Slowbro, to face Iris's lead, the terrifying Hydreigon. It's a tense, drawn-out battle of attrition, Calm Mind stacking into slack-offs, tanking Dragon Pulse after Dragon Pulse. Mustard holds firm like a limpet on the shore, and eventually, with enough setup, we surf it into oblivion. Hydreigon down, and we're in the hot seat. Then comes Lapras. She sings and Mustard takes a small sleep, or so I hoped. In a flash of electricity, our first gym winner is gone. A critical hit takes our first mate, and he doesn't wake up from the sleep. Rest easy, Captain Mustard. We'll try and steer this home, just for you. Buffalo the Starmie takes up the torch and decides to show Lapras how that feels. 2 Thunderbolts manage to avenge our fallen captain. Then the real dragon appears, Haxorus. We send in Ketchup, who takes an X-Scissor and a Dual Chop before dragon dancing in the face of the beast. Both of us boogie for a bit before Ice Fang is there and nearly seals the KO. But Haxorus just can't stop dancing for some reason, and in its hypnotic state, it allows us to use another Ice Fang, and down goes the Axe Dragon. Druddigon enters, and we do heavy damage with a boosted Ice Fang. As it misses a Rock Slide, and we get greedy with a Dragon Dance, it finally puts an end to our antics, and it throws out a Dragon Tail, dragging Sriracha in, before it goes down to the Life Orb recoil damage. Aggron eventually stomps in, but we put it to sleep with Hypnosis, drum up some belly power, and wake up slap it back to the caverns. Finally, last comes Archeops. We sub in Ketchup as it starts to get acrobatic, before we tag in Aeoli to tank the incoming pressure. A couple rocky exchanges later, and Aeoli seizes an opportunity to drop Archeops into the red. It tanks another attack, before it sees its opportunity, and our fishy friend manages to wash away the last obstacle. Archeops down, Iris defeated. Cast after cast, we hauled our way to the top. Through storms, crits and champions, this trainer stands tall. Not too bad for a fisherman, is it? Thank you all so much for watching, and of course, thank you for all the kind words and support lately. It really does mean the world to me. I know I keep saying it, but it really does. If you enjoyed the run, consider subscribing for more content, or even more so, if you really enjoyed the run, consider becoming a channel member. Anyway, Remember everyone, embrace the chaos, and I'll see you at the Luxury Ball Resort. Don't forget to download Raid Shadow Legends using the link in the description to claim all of your exclusive heroes.